Hey guys, Bill the Appraiser here with a new video today. Today the topic is quality and condition, or Q's and C's. And the reason I refer to them as Q and C is because what happened is years ago, appraisers would come in and take a look at a property and they would refer to it as kind of just generic adjectives, fair, average, good, excellent. The problem with that is that your idea of average and my idea of average might be two completely different things, let alone when you start factoring in other appraisers, and there's lots and lots of appraisers out there. So about 10, 12, 15 years ago, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac put together this new system called UAD, Uniform Appraisal Data Set. And it's about the Q's and the C's, the quality and the condition, and they put in this 6-point scale of 1 to 6, 1 being the best, 6 being the worst, is one way to look at it, both for the Q, the quality, and for the C, condition. And if you grab any appraisal report that you've seen lately in the last 10, 12, 15 years, the last 2 or 3 pages of that report are probably going to be a couple of pages that explain the quality, the Q, and the C, the condition. And so this is why now, if you look at a report, you'll see the subject and all the comparable sales have been given a Q rating and a C rating on that 1 to 6 scale. I would venture to guess the vast majority of things are some combination between Q3, Q4, C3, C4. Now, I realize if other appraisers are watching this will probably generate a lot of discussion, and this is one of those things you could talk about till the cows come home, as we say in the South, and you're never going to get to the end of it. But the things on either extreme kind of take care of themselves. The Q5s, Q6s are things that are not particularly great as far as quality construction goes. We'll talk about those some more in a minute. And the C1s and the C2s, they take care of themselves for a couple different reasons. C1 is brand new construction, never lived in. So it's kind of like that new car that drives off the lot. The minute you drive it off the lot, a house becomes C2. And C2, in my opinion, has a relatively short time frame, that it's going to be C2 for a few years, but I think the average appraiser, once a home gets to be about 6, 7 years old, they're probably already leaning toward C3 condition, but obviously they're going to look at the condition and see how well it's been maintained, et cetera, et cetera. As far as the Qs go, Q1, Q2, those are, and you can read the descriptions, but those are really super high end. Maybe not always $1 million homes, but they're up there, hundreds of thousands of dollars, at a minimum probably. And once you get to $1 million, yeah, you're probably looking, other than location and such, you could easily be looking at Q1, Q2. I consider those kind of rock star or movie star homes. Now, I realize that in some parts of the country, a lot of appraisers may deal with a lot of Q1 and Q2 type thing. Where I live, that's relatively rare around here. It does happen, but mostly it's Q3, Q4. Same thing with the condition. So, you just have to be aware of those condition ratings, because that also impacts value. And so when an appraiser is comparing a home that's updated, potentially C3 condition, to a home that's not updated, potentially C4 condition, they're going to be making an adjustment for that, a monetary adjustment, and that's going to be reflected on the grid. And so when real estate agents are doing their CMAs, the comparative market analysis, they should be doing the same thing, and probably are. That they're looking at the condition of the subject property, comparing that to the condition of a different property. And the way the rule goes is comp better, subtract, comp worse, add. And what that means in reference to the subject property, if the comp is better, then you subtract, comp better, subtract. Or if the comp is worse, comp worse, add, then the appraiser, and in theory, the agent, is also going to be adding some money to that comparable that is in inferior condition to that of the subject, or inferior quality as compared to the subject. Now, in a perfect world, I think appraisers would not be comparing properties that were more than 1 Q or C rating away from the subject property. And so adjustments have to be made for all those. And those adjustments are based on market reaction, what we call market reaction contributory value. We'll come back and do a whole nother video about that, probably multiple videos. How much does a buying public care about that? How much do they care about that amenity? How much do they care about that quality difference? And things like that. So you got quality rating, you got condition rating. And trying to lean toward wrapping this up here in just a little bit. This video's getting ready to be about 5 minutes long as it is. And so, agents, homeowners, need to take those differences into consideration, because occasionally as an appraiser, I'll hear a homeowner tell me, oh, well, I know the one down the street sold for X. Well, what they don't necessarily know, or certainly bring up to the appraiser, is the one down the street, has been super renovated, super, remodeled, et cetera, the best of the best kind of thing. And maybe their own property either has not been renovated or updated at all, or has minimal updates. So that's going to contribute in a big way to the appraisal overall. So you just need to be aware of those Q&C ratings, that they're going to impact the estimate of value. And so an agent would need to work on that as far as the CMA goes, comparative market analysis, and the appraiser is definitely going to take the Q&C rating into consideration when they do their report. So again, drop some comments, things that came across, didn't come across, things that were understood and weren't, areas I need to explain and expand on in the next video, and I will sure do that. And I would just ask you to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.